Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge.
After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort.
No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today.
In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life.
I am Rachel Ruth Tate, and this is Astrology. All right. Howdy, all folks present. This is Rachel Ruth Tate here with another episode of everybody's favorite Lone Star Cosmic Scoop, the Astrology podcast. But first, a quick announcement for all of y'all listening and living in North or Central Texas, Waco, Dallas area. I am hosting a full moon in Aries lunar circle with Yoga 8 here in Waco and with my dear friend and yogi Rachel Velasco. Think astrology, therapeutic movement, revitalizing sound bath meditation, a community sharing container, a crystal healing kit to take home, and much, much more. You can enjoy 90 minutes of all of that and our very Rachel-tastic company on Friday, September 29th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Yoga 8 in Waco. And now to the material of our business here on this podcast, a new moon happening at 21 degrees of Virgo. Virgo being the sixth sign in our zodiac, our mutable earth sign ruled by Mercury and represented by the Virgin. So, this new moon seems like a critical juncture and perhaps an internal inflection point. There is something that we have wanted to break down leading up to this new moon. Breakdown being a mutable earth thing for sure. And we've wanted to dissect this, right? Which is also very mutable, very earthy, and quite mercurial dissection. So we've been wanting to break down and dissect something, to explore the innards of something, to understand a personal molting of sorts, or a chrysalis, or a transformation. And this is the internal apprehension of that thing. So let me make this tangible. Perhaps what we're talking about here is the exploration of some sort of behavior or behavioral process. Virgo, an earth sign, makes things manifest. The earth signs are manifest. So maybe this is an apprehension of a core concept required for your self-actualization, like identity, purpose, orientation, motivation, mode of operation, some form of concerted personal development, like the why behind the who you are. That's the vibration I'm talking here. And we have fundamental questions like that we've been collecting data on, whether consciously or unconsciously, for quite some time. Mercury's direct station later in the day, also in Virgo, will help to answer those very questions. So that's all setting the scene, right? Setting the scene for our inner unfoldment on this mutable new moon. Let me continue with the fact that this Virgo lunation is ruled by Mercury, right? A Mercury that is technically still retrograde in Virgo at the time of the new moon, so still apparently in backward motion. But, this is a Mercury that is set to station direct within 24 hours of that moment. So, that means that the ruler of this new moon is a virtually unmoving Mercury on the verge of imminent directional shift. Doesn't that feel like it mirrors or sort of gives some depth to what I was describing initially, the internal processes? That felt and sensed embodiment of a personal shift of some really elemental sort that's literally a breath away from happening or having happened. So, quick review. This new moon's ruler is literally suspended in the sky, almost unmoving hours from its station direct, but in its home sign, which is also the sign of its exaltation, Virgo. And we like that. It's effective, meaning whatever we are breaking through or into or down, whatever information we are downloading, so to speak, this is not only important, but it's going to be effectual, literally. We have been written the correct cosmic prescription. Virgo is a master chemist, master pharmacist, and generally, Mercury and Virgo get shit sorted, y'all. It really does. It organizes the chaos no matter how chaotic. It's the best organizer of the best organizers. Virgo is also a master sculptor, and there is art in the message and expression, as there will be with our realizations and mental connections during this new moon in Virgo lunar cycle. Prepare to be moved. So working on, or moving into our analysis, right? What planets are making the closest aspects to the new moon? Well, there are 2 planets in mid-Taurus, which are sending trines. Trines being a 120-degree angle of the nature of Jupiter, so guiding bodies to their highest potential. So there are 2 planets sending those positive trines to the sun and moon, whose conjunction literally forms the new moon at 21 degrees of Virgo. And I like, by the way, how I'm unintentionally saying literally so much. And literally and Virgo are like that's a perfect literal Virgo, right? So one of those planets, those 2 planets trining the new moon in Virgo, is actually Jupiter retrograde, our greater benefic at 15 degrees of Taurus. And the other is Uranus retrograde, which is our change maker disruptor at 22 degrees of Taurus, making the closest aspect. Well, what does that mean? It means there are going to be some major changes we instantiate with this new moon, as I have said. We are at a crucial spot on the map of life, okay? Interesting topography. One in which imminent evolution and almost complete transformation feature prominently on the precipice of the new and next that we have both mentally and spiritually been seeking for a moment now. Mercury and Jupiter, by the way, always form an axis. This is a slight aside, but Mercury and Jupiter signs are opposite to each other's, like Venus and Mars's, right? So they form 2 ends of a spectrum, like the spiritual and scientific ends of truth, or the tangible versus intangible data and information we get about life. Sort of the daily mundane we create versus the immortal art that we make, right? Contemplating the mind of God. So Mercury and Jupiter both speak to our knowledge, but just of different sorts, the earthly Mercury versus the divine Jupiter. And this is a mercurial lunation that Jupiter is all up in. And that is underscored by the fact that Jupiter is currently taking the exact same retrograde path, exact same degrees that Mercury took earlier in the year, so from 15 degrees of Taurus back to 5 degrees of Taurus. What we are integrating now will be learned on all levels, folks. Philosophically, informationally, otherwise. We will know it in our hearts, souls, minds, and bones. With every mercurial lunation, there is a message. And this is no exception. What grows here from this new moon is what begins next, and the seed of which is here and now, planted in the ground at this very time. And I will let all of that take root in your mind while we take a break for a brief word from our sponsors.
Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge.
After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort.
No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today.
And here we are with the second half of this episode of the Astrology podcast. It's time to talk through current transits or the cosmic weather. So here are my top 3 stories this lunar cycle. The first one you've already heard alluded to plenty in our prior lunation portion of the show, but we have to say that first off, Mercury stations direct at 8 degrees of Virgo on Friday afternoon, the day after the new moon, so September 15th at 3:20 p.m. Central Standard Time. Here we go. Yes, we can almost consider this bit a lunar breakdown part 2 because the new moon in Virgo and Mercury's direct station, they're in the same sign and they're so inextricably linked. I've shared some of the symbolism already, but it's important to remember that any planet, not just Mercury, pulls focus to itself when it stations retrograde or direct, meaning that when a planet changes its apparent direction in the sky, it calls all eyeballs to itself, almost like it was raising its hand. In this instance, we're being called to the new moon's ruler, Mercury, which is stationing direct at 8 degrees of Virgo opposite to Saturn retrograde at 2 degrees of Pisces, and trined to Jupiter at 15 degrees of Taurus. Funny enough, an opposition is an angle of the nature of Saturn, and a trine is an angle of the nature of Jupiter. So both planets are doing their very specific sort of work with this Mercury that's stationing direct. Saturn challenges, Jupiter expands. Patience, learning. Patiently learning, or learning patience, or all of the above. What this tells me is that there is some sort of long-term process that we have been undergoing here, preparing of the ground. It has been spiritual. It has been literal. It's got us struggling to grow and growing amidst the struggle. Remember, though, that our good friend Jupiter is ruling Saturn in Pisces and is all over this lunation. The good is what wins out here. We are not destined to languish in this liminal space for too long. We are taking what we have learned and changing our behavior to reflect a more enlightened version of ourselves. Listen, for all of us, there is something to be cleaned up or dealt with or sorted. Venus just stationed direct. Mercury is just now stationing direct. So our hearts and our minds have been backtracking, or nostalgic, or stalled, or just under the wrong impression. But that time is over. Our inner planets are all direct. Mercury, Venus, Mars. We have our chakras aligned finally, folks, right? I kid, but I don't really. We have the tools we personally need to organize whatever chaos has been throwing us for continual loops of late. And we will all know what this is, an area or few areas of life that have just felt stagnant or intractable or convoluted, just impossibly mired. Well, now Mercury direct in Virgo has come to rearrange the furniture and improve our personal feng shui, or reorganize our library books, or reorder them in a logical way, or organize our clothing by color and season in the closet, something inherently practical is happening here. Something with long-term benefits, some sort of sense of clarity that we have been looking forward to for a while now, or at least that we're starting to look forward to, since Mercury has just shifted its gaze after all. And that means use up this high-quality Mercury in Virgo direct on literally all the things. Again, with a literally, I can't help it. It's not even written here on my script. I'm just adding that word. Mercury in Virgo is literal. So contracts, projects, sales, exchanges, presentations, submissions, invoices, all of the things, Mercury. Do it. Get them sorted. This is the best headspace we will have for fine details all year, folks. And speaking of fine things, Venus at 15 degrees of Leo squares Jupiter retrograde at 15 degrees of Taurus overnight from Saturday to Sunday on September 17th in the wee hours of the morning at 1:12 a.m. Central Standard Time. So our second transit is interesting. We have both of our benefics in an active embrace here. Venus, our lesser or personal benefic, makes a square, which is a 90-degree angle, a dynamic angle of the nature of Mars, with our greater benefic Jupiter retrograde. Yeah, and Jupiter's in all of this stuff. Like, don't worry, Jupiter features everywhere. So this isn't the first time we have made this square in the sky, okay? It's interesting because it's the third one. The square has happened twice before. That makes sense, right? So twice before, as in, okay, Venus has squared Jupiter plenty of times, but this has happened twice before in 2023. Once on June 11th with Venus direct squaring Jupiter direct. A second time on August 22nd with Venus retrograde and Jupiter direct. And now the last time this year with Venus direct again and Jupiter just having stationed retrograde. So go back to those dates I mentioned, June 11th, August 22nd, and circle the 17th of September on the calendar. There should be a nice through line with the themes here, specifically the active development of some sort of theme around a sense of value or your personal brand. Maybe it's image or identity. If this sounds a little bit like the lunations breakdown, remember that none of these things in the sky happen in isolation, so each is feeding into the other. And whatever this square is, so whatever this active process is, it should be truly feeding our fire, so to speak. This is a square between Taurus and Leo. Every fire needs its logs, yeah? Jupiter retrograde in Taurus is the fuel that Venus in Leo needs to burn bright. There is some sort of greater resources that we've all been attempting to marshal in order to serve a personal purpose, desire, or to complete our transformation. And there is no bus ticket to paradise without the dollars required to make the trip, right? So think about what has been your kindling this summer. What activities and enjoyments have kept you going throughout the challenges that have invariably stopped us all in our tracks this summer? We've got like 6 planets retrograde, right? So maybe there are people who have been a great help and personal support. Maybe it's an activity or a community. That depends on what houses Taurus and Leo represent for you. And keep in mind, Jupiter will not station direct in Taurus until December 31st, New Year's Eve. That means this square between benefics won't happen again until Venus reaches Aquarius in February of next year. And Jupiter will be direct as well by then. And that makes me think that whatever good we are actively crafting at the moment, we might not see it fully coalesced until that time. So with this square, we have to be content to remain somewhat in motion. Both planets squaring well direct is sort of like an all systems go signal of sorts. And that's one we won't be getting for a while. Because fixed things, after all, fixed like Leo, fixed fire, Taurus, fixed earth, Aquarius, fixed air. Fixed things take a while to fully embody change. Fixity does not shift quickly. So the outside won't entirely match the inside for a few more months, but there is nothing and nobody who says you can't or won't enjoy the ride. That's what a square between benefics is. One hell of a ride. Third transit. The sun enters Libra overnight from Friday into Saturday, September 21st at almost 2 a.m., bringing with it the autumnal equinox and beginning the fall season. Libra is our 7th sign in the zodiac, our cardinal air sign ruled by Venus, and where Saturn exalts. It is represented by the scales and is actually the place where the sun falls. So when we begin the fall season, we also have the sun entering a sign it has more trouble expressing through. And this makes sense if you think about it for just a moment. The scales must weigh things, more than one thing. A two-sided scale, which Libra is, must be balanced against the sun, which in any chart represents the life force of a thing, event, or person. So the sun being expressed relative to whatever is on the other side of the scales means that the core of Libra, the identity, is inherently relational. For example, you Libra folks likely relate just as much to your last name as your first. The clan or family you come from has probably inherently defined you or been a significant part of your self-expression. Kim Kardashian, for example, she's the prime example, has both Sun and Saturn in Libra in the 11th house. She is as much Kardashian as Kim, if not more. And in a mundane sense, so outside of the context of a natal chart, in an astro-weather sense, the beginning of fall in the northern hemisphere, the autumnal equinox, marks the period when the sun and moon have equivalent dominion over the day. Just as much day as night, but it marks the time where the sun begins to lose ground. There is more dark than light coming up. This is when things begin to hibernate. When the green begins to brown, leaves fall, things begin to die and mold as we sink into the cold. The vernal equinox, on the other hand, which is marked by the sun's entrance into Aries, the sign of its exaltation, is the opposite. And literally, Aries and Libra are opposite to each other. So it is the other day of the year that we have equal parts light and dark, but it marks the time when the sun is beginning to grow in light. Spring has sprung. What has been dead comes back to life, reanimation, rejuvenation. So we're at the opposite of that, right? Where the sun is entering Libra, and its ruler Venus is still in Leo. And we like this, actually. Even though things are beginning to die, this should be a little sweet because there is a mutual exchange there. The sun will be in Venus's sign, Libra. Venus is still in the sun sign, Leo. And those two signs relate to each other by a sextile, a 60-degree positive opportune angle of the nature of Venus herself. Meaning, there is a good chance to harmonize here. A chance to blend and balance what has been out of sorts or out of order. We get to experience whatever beauty we are really wishing for, whatever win our souls have been calling for. I feel like there is something that is finally going to click, if you will. But that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it's going to be good. The sun is here in Libra, co-present with Mars, meaning that this Libra season we are going to be activated, likely busy relating, learning, sharing, connecting, trading, publishing, posting, air sign stuff galore, and it's the right time to get after it. Remember, Mercury, which is a triplicity ruler of air signs, has just stationed direct, and every inner planet is direct, so we can take our ideas forward here this Sun through Libra season. We will find our schedules likely full, our social calendar is busy, but don't shy away from what you're being called to do. With Mars in Libra, take it at your own pace, though. Be diplomatic. Flow, don't force. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar here. So be sweet to yourself and others. It's been a long retrograde season with many, many planets retrograde at the same time, and Jupiter is still retrograde in Venus's other sign of Taurus. So we won't be able to get everything we want, but we are closing in. And that, you fine humans, takes us to our key words for the upcoming quality of time. These new moon and Virgo weeks will be clarifying, re-energizing, inevitable, solution-oriented, and incipient. Before we finish with our do's and don'ts, I want to remind you that you personally, or anyone that you love, can book a one-on-one Zoom natal chart reading with me. Book right now online at www.texastrology.com or get a gift certificate for a birthday or baby shower or wedding gift. Wedding charts are a thing, right? Of course. So thanks for that. Now we are on to our do's and don'ts for this mercurial lunation. Do: take things slowly. Practice patience and move with intention for best results. Don't: avoid tasks until their due dates bear down upon you. That is procrastination, and it's stressful. Do: sit with thoughts and emotions to get internally clear on how you'd like to alter future actions based upon them. Don't get caught up in depressive or anxious thoughts. Interrupt those patterns with positive rituals. Do: take responsibility for yourself, your projects, and your space. Treat body and home with great care. Prioritize health. Don't confuse spending money with spending time. You don't need a million new organizers from the Container Store to feel okay. And with those last directives, here is one more. Please like, subscribe to, rate, comment on, and widely share Text Astrology on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It helps me more than I can actually say. Please follow me on Instagram at Rachel Ruth Tate for astrology dailies as well. I am always posting daily horoscope videos. With that said, thank you once again for listening to this new moon in Virgo edition of the show. Take great care. That's it for this episode, folks. Meet me here every full and new moon for more cosmic wisdom. For now, you can find me on Instagram at Rachel Ruth Tate and at Text Astrology, or between the pages of my book, Meditations on Being, available on Amazon and wherever else you purchase books.
Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge.
After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort.
No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today.
In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life.